Carlos Vela is one of Mexico's key players. Credit REUTERS Mexicans can never be sure who will be playing for the national team under Juan Carlos Osorio. A different lineup has been deployed by Osorio in all 44 games in charge, and now players are starting to question the tactical tinkering going into the World Cup. "It's time to stop with the experiments," goalkeeper Guillermo Ochoa said. "We have to focus on how we play as a team." Osorio, who replaced fan favorite Miguel Herrera in 2015, isn't budging. The Colombian has no plans to change this strategy because it carried Mexico to the World Cup as the top-placed team in CONCACAF, qualifying for the first time in 2 decades. But changing formations depending on the opponent hasn't fared well in all competitions. World Cup 2018, all you need to know. "A lot of people said that the past few years have been good, but I'm not so sure about that," said Manuel Lapuente, who coached Mexico at the 1998 World Cup. "We were a failure in the Copa America Centenario. We failed at the Gold Cup and in the Confederations Cup. We did well in the qualifiers, but guess what? We are not going to play against that kind of rival in Russia." The Mexicans were consigned to their worst-ever loss in the 2016 Copa America Centenario quarterfinals, trounced 7-0 by Chile. In a pair of semifinals last year they were beaten 4-1 by Germany in the Confederations Cup and lost 1-0 to Jamaica in the Gold Cup. Progress for Mexico at the World Cup would be reaching the quarterfinals after failing to advance from the round of 16 at 6 successive editions. Only when the Mexicans hosted the World Cup did they make the last 8, in 1970 and 1986. Here's a closer look at the Mexico team. Coach Osorio, a former conditioning coach at Manchester United under Sir Alex Ferguson, won 4 league titles in Colombia and was managing Sao Paulo before taking over his first job as a national coach with Mexico in 2015. Osorio's success in Colombia, where he won the championship with Once Caldas and 3 more with Atlético Nacional, was based on the same tactical fluidity that he has brought to Mexico. His 44 games with Mexico have seen 29 wins, 8 draws and 7 losses. Mexico's national team coach Juan Carlos Osorio credit AFP Guillermo Ochoa, who has made 92 appearances since his international debut in 2005, is renowned in Mexico for an outstanding save from Neymar's header at the 2014 World Cup. The 32-year-old Memo, who plays for Standard Liège in Belgium, will be making the World Cup trip, but he might not be guaranteed to start every game. Osorio is considering using either Jesus Corona or Alfredo Talavera in the final Group F game against Sweden, because Ochoa can struggle dealing with crosses. Probably the weakest link in the team, Hector Moreno, who plays for Real Sociedad after a brief stint with Roma, is the strongest component of the back line. Osorio likes to play with 3 center-backs, but only Moreno is a guaranteed starter. Nestor Araujo of Santos is uncertain for the tournament after sustaining a knee injury in a friendly against Croatia in March, while Carlos Salcedo injured his collarbone in the same match and is racing to be fit for Russia. Oswaldo Alanis, Hugo Ayala and Edson Alvarez could take over, but all lack international experience. This department is the team's strength. Irving Lozano, who has scored 16 goals for PSV Eindhoven in the Dutch league, should start on the left wing. Carlos Vela, who joined Los Angeles FC from Real Sociedad last year, currently has the edge to start on the other flank rather than Jesus Corona of Porto. Andrés Guardado, Real Betis, will play in the center in his 4th World Cup alongside Hector Herrera, whose Porto teammate is set to be the defensive midfielder. Forwards Javier Chicharito Hernandez remains the main striker heading into the tournament, but Raúl Jiménez is having a strong season with Benfica and giving the West Ham striker a run for his money. Oribe Peralta, who led Mexico to the gold medal at the 2012 London Olympics, is the 3rd striker. Coach Osorio likes to use a formation with a withdrawn striker, a position where Giovanni Dos Santos, Marco Fabian and Rodolfo Pizarro are contesting the starting position. Mexico open Group F against World Cup holders Germany on June 17 in Moscow, where they have their tournament base. Then there's a trip to Rostov-on-Don to face South Korea on June 23, followed by a June 27 meeting with Sweden in Yekaterinburg.